Hey, it's MK, and I am here with a Stitches and Stencils layout for you guys today. I am also playing along with Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches, and today's sketch is by Brandy Joe. And I am not going to do the papers that are above and below her sketch. I'm just going to concentrate on the center portion of the sketch. I have these 3 photos of my father-in-law's celebration of life, and I wanted to make an album for my mother-in-law for Christmas. So I'm putting together these layouts and pictures and things in hopes that she can remember her late husband. So I've got a couple thickers that I'm going to pull in. I've also got a couple dies from Pretty Little Studios. These chipboard words are from Dusty Attic. They're left over from a kit that I used a million years ago. And then I've got some fussy cut images out from a Minte collection. I have some random bits and pieces. Some are $49 in market, and then I have no idea where the felt things came from. I'm also going to be using my sewing starter set that I have in my shop. It comes with this adorable little box where you can hold your needles in. It does not come with the needles. It just is a box for holding your needles. It also comes with a piercing pad that has my logo on it just because I thought it was fun. And then it comes with, and yes, I'm just sharing with you guys that I need my piercing tool. And then it also comes with these 2 starting stitches that actually label what the stitch is. And so I'm hopefully going to get around to doing some layouts using this one here so I can share with you guys exactly how to get the designs that are envisioned with the holes. And same with the other ones in case you guys aren't familiar with blanket stitches and cross stitching and stuff like that. So anyways, I'm also going to be using this 12 by 12 stencil from the Crafters Workshop. I think I've only used this stencil once. It's by Carmen Medlin. And she designed it specifically for the Crafters Workshop. It's several years old, you guys. I have no idea if it's still available or not. But I'm going to attempt to pull out what's in my brain, right? So I've got this one sheet of the Great Outdoors from Minte. And it's like a leather-bound color, and it's got this gorgeous plaid on the back, but I'm actually going to use the leather bound for a Reads as a Solid Brown. You guys, I have stopped purchasing cardstock. I think I'm going to purchase a couple cardstock pieces, but I've stopped purchasing cardstock and started purchasing Reads as Solid papers. So I've got some distress inks. I have black and hickory smoke, and then I also have mustard seed and squeezed lemon. Those are the colors I'm going to use for this stencil. I'm also going to be pulling out my little desk buddy here. I am holding it because it's going, the magnet is going through the stencil, the paper, and to the glass mat, and it's not as strong as my hockey pucks that I have, or my little my little magnetic pucks that I have. So I do have to end up holding it just because of how many layers I have underneath it. But I am in love with this cool little tool that is also from the Glassboard Studio, which is where my main desk is from, the mat that I use in all my videos, since 2023, I want to say. I've been using this desk mat. I actually need a new one, and part of that is because I use this so much. She is well loved, starting to get scratched, and all those good things. And that is just because I'm a very abusive creator. That has nothing to do with the quality or the design. It is just basically because I am a very abusive creator. Back in the day, I thought that these desks were indestructible, or I should say glass mats. And I used my glass mat for sanding, and yeah, don't do that. Don't sand directly on your glass mat because it will start scratching. And the scratches for me they're more of an eyesore than they are damage to the desk mat works perfectly fine. As you can see, nothing gets stuck in the scratches. They clean up very nicely. It's just for me an eyesore. And, I just like pristine things. And when I mess them up, they bother me up to the point where I need to replace them. All right, enough about my glass mat. I just want you guys to know I love my glass mat. I truly do. So what I'm doing is I'm taking all of the little light bulbs. Now, yes, I could have put this whole thing down on this white cardstock, inked the whole thing, and then fussy cut them out. But I just wanted the light bulbs. I didn't want the stringy thingies, and I also didn't want to waste a whole bunch of paper because the light bulbs would have just been mostly in the middle. So what I'm doing is my first jar of light, I didn't use any of this tape that I'm using. And to be honest, my bulb came out a little gray instead of the bright yellow that I was looking for. So I started using this tape. Now this tape, I should have used washi tape, to be honest, because this tape is so light tack. It is meant to hold your your dies in place while you run it through your die cut machine. So that way they don't move, but they also don't get smushed down into the design so much that they stick to the paper and rip your paper. So it's designed to be light tack and very low tack. I just didn't know where my washi tape went at the time, and I was too lazy to get up and look for it. So this tape was handy, to say the least. I had to hold it in place. I didn't trust it. It was all over the place. So not the right tape, but I still ended up doing what I needed to. If I would have used washi tape, I would have been able to reuse all those bits and pieces instead of constantly keep bringing out brand new ones. As soon as I put ink down on the stencil, this specific tape would not stick to the ink at all. And so that was one of my main issues. So the inks that I'm using Hickory Smoke on any round shape. They're all round basically, but all of the light bulb shaped bulbs, and then the mason jars, I used the black soot. So that way they stood out just a little bit more. Plus I had a little bit of color variation in my layout. Now this is another layout that is going to be on the longer side because I wanted to share this, I don't know what you would call it, because it's not a technique, but it is a labor of love to get all of these little light bulbs on this page. Now, I definitely could have left out the part where I cut out all these. I didn't even think about that until like right now. But I shared with you guys that I fussy cut out all of these because they're simple designs. They really are. There was no really rough spot to cut out. These are plain Jane cool little jars. And so yeah, I just wanted to have them all over my layout when I get there. So I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut out each one of them. And as you can see, they are very simple designs to fussy cut out. And this is where I should have said, hey, stop, here we go. So these, like I was saying earlier in the intro, these are layouts that I am doing for my mother-in-law. Hopefully she doesn't watch my videos. I know she checks out when I post on my social media, but I know she's seen the previous layouts that I did. We've had a couple different, it's interesting. This is probably the first time in my life that I just didn't go to a funeral and a celebration of life and then be done. This one here, I didn't go to the funeral, but I did do the spreading of the seeds. We did the celebration of life. I don't know if there was an actual funeral or not. And then there was one other thing that we did. And it was something that I haven't scrapbooked yet because I'm not really sure how I want to go about it. These pictures here and the spreading of the seeds they came easily to me of what papers I wanted to use, how I wanted to use them, and everything. But the last set of photos that I have to do is the last ride. And her husband was a truck driver, and they brought his truck, the company that he worked for, brought his truck to the celebration of life. And they gave her a ride in it for the last time. And it was so touching and so moving. I took a gazillion photos. I probably won't scrap them all, but I took a gazillion photos just because that was my favorite part of the whole process, because it's almost like closure, right? And so I'm not sure. I have until December to figure out how I'm going to scrapbook those. So I may or may not bring them in during November. I may or may not bring those pictures in for December, or I may or may not even record them and just do that process. All right, so I took squeezed lemonade to make it look like all of my bulbs were turned on. At first, they looked like they were just bulbs in a jar. And then I took the squeezed lemonade and just very gently went over all my glass part and made it look like my bulbs were turned on. And then to get rid of that white line, I am just roughing up the edges with my fingernail. I could have used my edge distressor, but I just thought that this process was a little easier. And then I didn't have to worry about messing up the top of the jars or where the bulbs are. Next, I'm going to distress them just a little bit. It didn't make a difference at all. So yeah, that was a wasted effort. All right. So I have a hard time using these thickers because they are so shiny. So I wanted to try and take my oxide spray to see if it would dull it down like an ink would have. And it really didn't work. So I had to mix the spray with some acrylic paint in order to get the color I was looking for, because I didn't have paint in this color, but two, for it to stick to my my thicker. And now I'm just going to take that same exact step. I still have paint on my sponge, so I'm just adding a little bit more of the oxide spray, and I'm going to dab, dab, dab. And when it actually dries, the oxide, it actually oxidizes, and so it will be lighter than what it is that I'm putting on here. So I thought that was pretty cool too, because that's the effect that I was going for, but not the color of acrylic that I had, because the color of acrylic I had was a little bit too light of a yellow. And this, I wanted to make it look like the lights were shining on the words. Even though I didn't give it a shadow, I could have definitely given it a shadow and made it look like the lights were shining down and then the shadow from below. But yeah, I didn't think about that. I just wanted the words to pop on the page. Okay, and then I also pulled out lots and lots of embellishments, you guys. These embellishments, I don't know what I was thinking. By the time that I add everything to my layout that I wanted on the layout, there really was no room for embellishments. But these are all the elements that I saw that I wanted to add to this page. So I've got my felt leaves, the tree rings, the pumpkins. Why the pumpkins? I have no idea. It just is the mood and feel that the centerpieces of the table gave me. It gave me that fall feeling, even though it was supposed to be more of an outdoorsy feeling. I picked out flowers. From this thicker set right here, I plan on using the purple flowers. Sorry, the frog decided to show up today. I still haven't given him a name yet. One of these days. So I do apologize. But yes, for the thicker set, I do plan on bringing in some of those flowers. I wanted to bring in all the flowers because I'm very ambitious. But as you can see, just from the 3 photos, I don't really have a lot of room to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and outline where I want my photos to go. And because of the middle picture being vertical and not horizontal, no, it's horizontal, not vertical. Oh my gosh, words are hard. I decided to overlap my two smaller photos onto the picture because then I would have been edge to edge all the way across, and I didn't want that. So I just traced them really quickly so then I could see where I want my light bulbs, and then I'm going to trace my light bulbs very, very quickly because, again, I turned my light bulbs on. I wanted to have that little feature of the light bulb, like I said, shining onto the page. So once I am done tracing all of my light bulbs, I am going to take that squeezed lemonade again and ink around my trace marks. So that way it looks like the light is actually shining on my page. And it's just a very quick and easy process. I have this sped up quite a bit because my video was super long. Again, I could have left out the cutting. I don't know why I didn't. So this part is sped up quite a bit because I wasn't sure if I was getting... and I do apologize if this makes people sick. I am so sorry, you guys. I had no idea my hand was moving that fast. But what I was trying to do is get the exact same shading behind my light bulb. I didn't want it to be brighter on this bulb than it was on this bulb, and so on and so forth. So once I'm done there, I'm going to take my oxide spray again and just give it a little bit of splattering to I don't know, for depth and dimension, I guess. I'm not really sure why I decided to do this, but it was fun. And when you're stitching, you kind of have to work backwards. You have to lay down everything that you don't want on top of your stitching. And so I didn't want to have to turn my light bulbs on after I've already glued my images down, and also the spraying. I didn't want the splatter to be on my bulbs either. I wanted them to be in the background. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my light bulbs back on my page. I'm definitely going to be stitching on them, and so that's why I decided to put my bulbs on now instead of when I do the stitching. And I have to say that I tried to share my stitching with you guys. That was the one part of this video that I did leave out because I have a hard time stitching out away from me. I bring it in so close and I lean back on my chair that I'm not even under the camera. And then the little bit that I am under the camera, I definitely am, it's not visible. Like you can't, it's still off camera slightly. Like you can see the bottom of the page, but nowhere near where I'm actually stitching. And so, yes, I do apologize for that little bit. But I do share with you guys how I am using my tool. And I'm using, in order to get my straight lines, I am aligning my dots up with the edge of the paper, and then up at the top, making sure that those 3 lines or 4 lines or 6 lines are all straight across as well. So that is what I'm using. I'm using the other dots and the edge of my paper as a guide to make sure that my lines go straight. And I'm just using the single line for my for what my stitch is going to be. I'm not going to be using cross stitching or anything like that because I decided to do a chain stitch. That way it looks like my light bulbs are hanging from chains. And so I just thought that that was a really good design to use for this particular layout. So anyways, again, I've got super ambitious now that everything is on my layout. I can see I don't have enough room for all the goodies that I have picked out to put on this layout. So yeah, I definitely have no idea, but I knew it as soon as I brought the tray in that there's no way I'm going to use all these elements. I really loved this moth. I wanted the moth to be attracted to my little light as well, so I'm going to bring that in. It might be a butterfly, I'm not sure, but because it's brown, I thought it was a moth. And so I wanted to have my moth attracted to my flame. So I instantly put him on the layout. Here, I wanted to use that little slate or chalkboard panel as a journaling spot, and I thought, nope, that's not happening. I have journaled on my other papers or other pages. And then there's also going to be a companion page to this one because I have several more photos. And then there's also going to be a pocket page, and the journaling will be on the pocket page as well of the celebration of life. And then I have, I believe I have her speech that she gave during the celebration as well. So it was great, you guys. It really was. It was great. Lots and lots of tissue. But we had a great time. The food was amazing. Yeah, it was great. I don't know how much detail you guys want to hear about this kind of stuff, but yeah. I also cut my flowers in half so I can use them in different areas throughout the layout. It helps me bring those colors in and around where I need them. And so I definitely enjoy having part of my flower cut off because one, it's tucked behind something. You're never ever going to see it. So it just works really well to have it cut off, and then now you have two of everything, right? So that works out really well. I do cut my leaves off of some of the stems. They are very tiny microscopic leaves, but they do make a pretty good impact, even though I just have a couple leaves going on. So I wanted my title to be all together. I wanted it to say, "Remember Treasured Memories." And it didn't work that way. I didn't leave room for it. I didn't plan for it. So it's actually going to say Treasured Memories Remember. So kind of like a play on words where it says, I wanted it to basically emphasize remember the treasured memories. But now it just says Treasured Memories Remember, but the ED is left off. So it's not remembered, it's just remember. And then I'm going to add this tiny word sticker that came on the sticker sheet. I have no idea what it says, but it still represented what I wanted it to say. And last but not least, I'm going to add these little sparkle bits because, of course, my light bulbs are sparkling. And I just thought that it was a great touch to add here and there and throughout my little clusters and bring the attention in. And then, of course, there was one off, so that's just going to go randomly up there. All right, you guys, so that is my layout for today. I enjoyed doing this very, very much. Please stay tuned. There is going to be a video on how to use the rulers in my stitching starter set. I just haven't gotten around with it. The advent calendar is consuming my life. I'm just saying. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really, truly appreciate it. Don't forget to check out all the links that I have down below. I have a link for stitches and stencils, which take you to my other layouts involving stitches and stencils. And then Brandy Jo, thank you so much for allowing us to use your sketch today. I enjoyed it very much. And don't forget to check out all of the links that I have for Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really, truly appreciate it. And I will check you guys all later. Bye.